Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here with us today. My name is Elias Delgado, and I am a senior program analyst at United Way Peter Houston. And today, I have the wonderful pleasure of demoing the ICJ Tech tool to you all today. Today, we are going to be demoing three different components of the ICJ. The first being the public pre-enrollment link, where funded partners are able to recommend clients into the ICJ program. Secondly, we will be logging into the tech tool and demonstrating the typical workflow of a navigator once a client has been referred into the program. And lastly, we are going to show how a navigator makes a referral on a client's behalf and how that referral is received at a funded partner. So the first step is that public pre-enrollment link, which can be found at our website of unitedwayhouston.org/ICJ. And when you input that URL, it will redirect you to this page here that asks, are you ready to work on some of your long-term goals? And if you scroll down, the client will be able to see a broad overview of what the integrated client journey is. And if a client is ready to get started, they can go ahead and select the little option here, which will redirect them to our public pre-enrollment link. And for today's demonstration, we are going to be pre-enrolling Mr. Randy Archer into the ICJ program. Here, we are providing Mr. Archer's phone number. And a client is only required to provide one method of communication, so it can be phone or email. If a client would like to provide both, they are more than welcome to do so. But for today's demonstration, we are just providing Mr. Archer's phone number. And here, the client resides in zip code 77007. Here, the client is able to provide more information here. The only other required field is this primary language spoken. So if a client, his primary language is English, they can select English. If it's Spanish, they can select Spanish. And what that will do is if a client's primary language spoken is Spanish, that will assign that client to one of our bilingual navigators that will be able to assist that client in their primary language. So for today's demonstration, we are going to select that Mr. Archer primary language is English. And again, here, this is not required information, but if the client would like to provide it, they are more than welcome to do so. And then here, there is a little disclaimer about the benefits and security risks of the use of technology. So if a client is comfortable with the language here, they can select check here. And once all this information is input, then the final step is just select the captcha here, and they'll be required to verify. So here we verify that. What we'll do is the client will hit submit. And while we wait, they will receive a notification saying, thank you for your interest in the integrated client journey, and a navigator will reach out to you within a week at your preferred method of contact. So from here, now we are going to dive into the typical workflow of a navigator once the client has been pre-enrolled into the ICJ program. So here we will be logging into the ICJ Tech tool. And what we'll do here is we will go into our pre-enrollment dashboard, which is where any new pre-enrolled client will be assigned to. And you can see here that we have Mr. Randy Archer. So he has been assigned to us through the public pre-enrollment link. And so what will happen here is now that the navigator will reach out to the client and set up an appointment to assess readiness to see if they are a good fit for the ICJ program. So you can see here that all that the information from the public pre-enrollment link just translated over. So here, as the navigator does their assessment, they can change the status after their meeting that the navigator has deemed that the client is ready for the ICJ. So he will change the status to ready. And now you can see here that we are able to enroll Mr. Archer into the program. So what we will do here is we will select the enrollment form, and you can see here all that public pre-enrollment information translated over. And here is where the navigator will ask additional information of the client, like their gender, their ethnicity, and their race. The client can also provide their education status, the number of members in the household, the monthly income of the household, what their living status is, whether they own, rent, or are living in a shelter, if the client has transportation, regular checks that the family is receiving, also if there are any veterans in the household, and also they can list all the benefits that they are currently receiving. So for today, we just selected that Mr. Archer is a male. He is not Hispanic and he is white. So we will go ahead and enroll the client into the ICJ. So now what we'll do is we'll open that open the client profile. And you can see here that the first thing is that that the client has not signed the consent form. So for today's demonstration purposes, we will kind of just bypass that since we don't have time to demonstrate the full flow of the consent form. So you see here now that we have bypassed that portion. Here is the client's entire profile. So then the next step that we'll do is we are going to be making a referral on behalf of Mr. Archer. So here we will go to the referral. So we will go to our resource directory. And here a navigator is able to search for services that client may need. So today, for purposes, we are going to be looking for test location. So here, the agency that we are referring to Mr. Archer to is test location. So we will hit search. And you can see here that two different services that agency provide are popping up. So this agency provides services in basic needs and early childhood and youth development. So for today's demonstration, we are going to be making a referral on behalf of Mr. Archer for basic needs. So what the navigator will do here is they have three different options for that, to get this information to the client. They can print the referral, and it'll just give them, the resource, the description, the address, the name, and the phone number. They also have the ability to email the information directly to the client. And then what they'll do here is they'll make the referral within the tech tool itself to the funded partner. So what they'll do is they'll select the referral. They'll hit this little arrow icon here. And what that'll do is you can see here that the client, Mr. Archer, we are sending the referral to test location agency. It is a basic needs referral. The service is emergency shelter lodging. The agency currently does have capacity for this particular referral. And here in contact, the system will automatically populate the staff member at that agency who is responsible for this referral. So in this instance, I am the one receiving the referral at this agency. So it auto-populated to me as the person identified to receive referrals for this particular service and category. And here the client, the navigator is able to select any information that the client would like to share with that receiving agency. So if the client is comfortable sharing their demographic information, then they can select it. If they're comfortable sharing some of the goals that they're currently working with the navigator, they can select to share that information as well. And also the vision planning, which talks about barriers, aspirations, and things connected to goals that they would like to share. And if the navigator is comfortable, the client is comfortable sharing all this information with the receiving agency, then they can select all three, but they are not required. But they are required to check this box here, understanding that it's just another consent piece for a referral being sent on a client's behalf. So once the client has agreed to the consent language and is comfortable with the referral being sent, and the navigator will hit submit, and then that referral will be sent to the receiving agency. So now we are going to log in as that receiving agency. And you can see here that we are now logged in as the staff member at the agency receiving the referral. So what we'll do here is it's a very straightforward workflow for a referral received at an agency. They'll just go to view received referrals. And you can see here that the referral that we sent on behalf of Mr. Archer is now here for that agency. So what we'll do is we'll log in to the referral ID. And you see here that we'll just have to bypass the consent form since the consent form hasn't been signed. So there's a double layer of protection, not just on the navigator side, but also the referral receiver side if consent has not been given on behalf of the client. So we will log back into the referral, and then this will take us directly to the referral. So you can see here that we have the client's name. We can see who the referral was submitted by. It was submitted by me from United Way Greater Houston, and you can see that it was submitted to myself at the agency. And you can see here all the referral information. It is an internal referral within the funded partner network, and it is a requested service, which is the emergency shelter and lodging. And if we had any notes attached to that referral, the referral receiver would be able to see that information here. Here, the current status of the referral is open agency notified, which is the default status of a referral when it is sent out. And here you can see that the referral was sent on 4/18/2023, and it is currently at open agency notified. So all that the workflow for a referral receiver is to just keep that status of the referral as updated as possible. So here we met with the client, we assess services, and we can now mark this referral as completed. And then the referral receiver would just update that status to complete. And you can see here that on the history, it went from open agency notified to now that the referral is completed. So that is all the workflow that is asked of a referral receiver. So now we will log out of the agency side and log back in as a navigator. And when we log in, you will see that we will go to that client profile and we will follow on the referral. So we will log into the client. Again, you will see here, so we'll just bypass the consent fee for today's demonstration. And then when we go to referrals, you will see here that referral has now been marked as completed on behalf of that client. And so that is the typical workflow that a client will go through into the ICJ program, from the public pre-enrollment link to them being enrolled by a navigator and then a referral being sent. This is the typical workflow that will happen for a client. And with that, that is the demonstration for today. So I hope you all learned something new. And I know for some of y'all who've been in our trainings, this is very familiar to you. And for those that are new and are seeing this for the first time, we are more than happy to answer questions about the workflow and other logistics about the tool. Thank you.